ano linalaman ng aking puso. Ang damdaming nangingibabaw sa loob ko ngayon ay kasiyahan. Ako'y masaya dahil sigurado na ako na tayo'y panalo na sa darating na eleksyon.
On February 7, President Ferdinand Marcos, ruler of the Philippines for 20 years, ran for re-elections against Corazon Aquino, widow of slain opposition leader Benigno Aquino. Marcos had Parliament declare him the winner, even though Aquino had actually won. Mass demonstration ensued and Marcos was forced to flee when the army refused to put down the demonstration.
Corazon Aquino, widow of a martyr and now the hero of her nation, Wednesday began the daunting task of trying to fulfill the hopes of millions of courageous people who brought her to power in a remarkably non-violent revolution.
Aquino moved swiftly to take control of a splintered Philippine government after Ferdinand E. Marcos, the country's president for the last 20 years, abdicated.
The long agony is over. The new president told her nation in a brief, freedom televised address, "We are finally free. We can be truly proud of the unprecedented way we achieved our freedom, and with courage and determination, and most important, in peace."
Marcos, his family, and closest friend left the Malacanang Presidential Palace Tuesday night abroad, a pair of U.S. helicopters which sped them off to Clark Air Base, 50 miles north of Manila. There, the fallen president, his wife Imelda, and former Armed Forces Chief of Staff Fabien Bier and Bier's wife boarded a C-9 transport jet with Red Cross marking and flew to American Pacific island of Guam.
Marcos,
68, who is believed to suffer from serious kidney problems and other ailments, was carried abroad the craft on a stretcher but walked off unaided on Guam. He was to get treatment at a U.S. Navy hospital there. In Washington, a Reagan administration spokesman said that Marcos' final destination was unknown. But the acting governor of Guam, Edward Reyes, said Marcos will leave from Hawaii.
the earlier Secretary of State, George, had said that the longtime American ally could find safe haven in the United States if he wished. Aquino, the widow of martyred opposition leader Benigno S. Aquino Jr., came to power after a swift and largely peaceful rebellion that began on Saturday with the defection of two of Marcos' top military aides, Defense Minister Juan Ponce Enrile and Lieutenant General Fidel Ramos, the Deputy Armed Forces Chief of Staff.
Marcos, who was first elected president of the Philippines in 1965 and who 4 years later became the first president of his country to win re-election, was a favorite ally of successive U.S. presidents for nearly all of his 20 years in power. Even after he imposed martial law in 1971, citing threats to democracy from Islamic insurgents and communists.
Troops loyal to Marcos, if they wished to support the increasingly beleaguered despot, were faced with the need to massacre a large number of their countrymen. Most of the soldiers elected not to shoot, which made Marcos' downfall inevitable. Until the defection of Enrile and Ramos, Marcos had seemed certain to serve at least part of the new 6-year term. He insisted he had won in widely condemned, fraud-ridden election on February 7. He was sworn in for the new term Tuesday morning, but his tenure in the office lasts only 9 hours.
Just hours before Marcos took his oath at the presidential palace, Aquino had declared a provisional government in effect and had taken a presidential oath at the Club Filipino as military helicopter flew overhead. At the time, Aquino's actions seemed more a gesture of bravado than an accession to real power. But events quickly handed her and her supporters control of the country. When word spread Tuesday night that Marcos had slipped into exile.
Aquino, a housewife until late last year, has little political experience. As soon as she became president, she turned to the military men who backed her last weekend. She will probably need them and other veteran politicians, many of whom support her in the months to come.